Here with UW-Eau head football coach Mike Schmidt as we preview the 2018 regular season finale up at UW-Eau Claire. The kickoff again, reminder to fans, is at 2:35 because the game is on TV on WXOW here in La Crosse area after the Badgers play at 11 a.m. So a 2:35 kick. Coach, first before we talk about Eau Claire, let's talk about last week's win, your regular season home finale, 29-14 over River Falls. Had a 17-0 lead at halftime, 19-0. Let's just talk about that game, and then we'll kind of get into some of the stats as well.
Yeah, our guys played really hard last week against a really good River Falls team who have been playing well, and actually beat a good Eau Claire team here that we're playing now. They beat them put up 40 points on them just the week before, and so a team that had been playing really well, I think, coming into that game, and our guys just played really well. We jumped out to a nice lead there early on. We score on the first possession, and then we're able to get a 26-0 lead, and it goes 26-7. I think 26-14. We kick a field goal, and so it's a nice win. It was great how our guys played, especially defensively. We just against a couple really great wide receivers. Our secondary played their best game of the year after having a tough game against Platteville, and so that was great to see. I thought Coach Jans did a great job with the game plan, and Colton Neiman really seals the game at the end with a big interception on a fourth down play, and happy for him on senior day to get a chance to celebrate that. And I know that win in that last home game meant a lot to those seniors. So big win for our football program for sure. Assured a winning season again. That's huge, for this football program and where we want to get to.
Eagles are 6-3 overall, and like you said, 4-2 in the conference, so have clinched the winning season. Talk a little about that defense. You held the Falcons at 246 yards rushing, or total yards, 35 rushing, 211 passing, 7 sacks. 14 tackles for loss last week.
Yeah, we were just living in the backfield for a lot of it. And the key was against that team was to keep them in the pocket. And, we just had worked so much on the techniques for our guys to work up front, and then also the schemes of our blitzes to keep them in the pocket, because we knew they were incredibly dangerous outside of the pocket. And so, I just thought our guys really bought into that philosophy to keep them in, and that's what happened was we were able to keep them in and have those tackles for loss, have those sacks. But I think that the front seven just did such a great job in the run game with it. If you were to tell me that we were gonna hold them to 35 yards rushing, I would have told you you're crazy. But just did a great job, had a great game plan up, and then obviously getting a lead really helps with that too. So.
Your defense has 67 tackles for loss through 9 games. You had a season high 14 against the Falcons. You've had at least 6 tackles for loss in each of the last 6 games. Just talk about how your defense is playing right now.
Yeah, and we knew that group, that group of D linemen up front was going to take a little while. They're young. We have no seniors in that group. We're playing 2 freshmen in Gerlitz and Dorschner up there. Boudry's a sophomore. The other guys are juniors in that mix. So. We knew that it was going to take some time for that group, but we've got great depth in that group, and they're just playing really well as we get through this conference season. And so you've just seen our uptick in sacks. We didn't have many sacks in our first 3 or 4 games at all, and especially our first 3, and that was the biggest, probably the part of our defense that we needed to get going from those first couple games. But it took a little bit of time with that group, and now they're playing at a really high level.
Now your offense, Ben Shramsky, a couple touchdown passes last week. He's got 20 for the season.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your offense. He had some running and passing last week.
Yeah, and we're going to need that out of Ben again this week to run the football a little bit. And we knew we had some good quarterback runs schemed up, and Ben did a good job getting that going. And I just think kind of with Ben, it's been, we've got some pretty good wideouts on the perimeter, and we got to give him a chance to get the football. And when Ben does that, we have a lot of success. And so, that's kind of been the story of the season. When we can keep it in a position for our guys to go compete for the ball, we've been pretty good. You even see that first one that Dom Levelarte has. It's underthrown, it's inside, and Dom just makes a play and then finishes it and scores it. And that's kind of been the key to our year with those guys right now. And Ben's the wideouts have been making Ben right a lot of times right now.
Talk about the third phase of football special teams. Very important part. Ryan Burnett field goals last week, 3 field.
Yep.
I mean, you're getting your special returns. They kind of did something different last week with their punting. You had talked about that last week with River Falls, punt return. But talk about how important that is, and especially with Eau Claire coming out.
It was huge. We played a punter. I think he was either second, or I think he might have been first in the league in punting going into the game, and then he walked out of the game at 7th in the league in punting, net punting average. I think we had a good combination of good pressure up against them to force them to kick the ball. I thought we did a good job of catching the ball again. Jake did a great job catching the ball. We put 2 returners back to kind of defeat the erraticness of their of the kicking game for them. And so, I thought by doing that, it really put things back in our favor with it. And that group, those guys, they just work like crazy. We can put new stuff in. We can scheme new things up every week. We can put our stuff in to defend or whatever, or to be aggressive and be offensive on the return side of things. And our guys just take that coaching, they put it in, and that's a hard thing to do. But we spend a lot of time on it in practice, and obviously the guys with the head coach coaching it, it makes it a pretty important piece of the game.
And Sean Parker, your punter as well,
yes,
had 3 punts inside the 20-yard line last week too.
Yep, had a great game. Shawnee's really come on here the last couple games and picked up his average. He's having a great couple games here now. So we need it out of him again tomorrow. He's punting really well in the cold weather yesterday with some hard balls. So look for him to have a big game again tomorrow.
Talking about the Blue Golds, they've won 2 of their last 3.
Yep.
Had a big win over Oshkosh last weekend, 20-14. They held the Titans to 160 yards of total offense.
Yep.
Let's talk about how the Blue Golds are playing right now.
They just dominated that game last week. They just looked like the team that wanted to be there more. They played like the team that wanted to be there more. They believe in themselves right now. It's really cool to watch. I'm excited about it for them. It's great for that program and what they're doing. They're playing really hard, and I don't know that they would tell you that they have unbelievable players everywhere, and I would say that we don't have unbelievable players everywhere, but our guys play really hard all the time, and certainly their guys are playing their tails off right now, and they believe in what's going on. They've got a couple of those signature wins for sure that are going to help that program moving forward, and we know what we have in front of us. We know it's a team that's they have 1 more sack than we do on the season. We know that they're an aggressive team that's really getting after the quarterback and really causing a lot of confusion up front, and they play incredibly hard off the ball there. And then I think on the other side of the ball, they're incredibly patient on offense. They're the number 1 team in time of possession, so they hold the ball a lot. They have a great running game with that. Their tailback's the 2nd leading rusher in the league. And doing a great job, and so we understand that we're going to have to try to manufacture our own momentum on defense, because they don't give you any, because they go so slow and methodical and huddle and use a lot of time on it. And at the same time, for us, we've got to be ultra aggressive and make them make mistakes on defense, because if they don't, they cause you and force you into turnovers. And you look at the games they've won against Platteville and Oshkosh, they've just dominated the turnover battle. They had 4 last week against Oshkosh, 6 the week that they beat Platteville. I mean, you can't do that and win football games in this league against anybody, and certainly against a team that's playing like they are right now.
Talking about this is we have this for the last 25 years. It's a TV game.
Yeah.
What that kind of just means to the western part of the state?
That's huge. I think especially this year, it's great. What's really tough about it, and what I really think is one of the number 1 factors in this series being so close, has been the early start. We don't ever start early. We sometimes start later within our league, but we never start early. And having that 11:30 start has been tough. It hasn't been great. And to travel and do those things and have that 11:30 start is not great. And so now we got to bump back to 2:30, which is great for us because we're on the road this year. I wish it would be at 2:30 every year, to be totally honest with you. I think that'd be awesome. And then it comes on the heels of the Badgers game. And so everybody that's watching the Badgers game can just click over and keep watching and doesn't have to go anywhere to watch our game against Eau Claire. What a huge deal that is, I think, for our players, for our families, but also recruiting on this side of the state, that there's going to be a lot of people that have a lot of eyes on this game.
Like I mentioned, you're 6-3. You're in consideration. You're in discussion about an NCAA bid, which will come out Sunday night. Just talk about that right now with where your team's at.
Yeah, potentially right now it looks like we could be the 3rd highest ranked non-automatic qualifier or at-large team out of the West region. There are 5 total, so we'd have to have some things break right for us. There's a couple things that we're looking at kind of around the country. There's really 2 teams in 2 games that would really put us in a position. But, as we kind of talked about, it's going to be tough for a 2-loss team to get in. I don't know that you'd look around the country and say that people would want to play us. I think that last year, too, who wanted to play us at the end of the year last year, the way that we had been playing. I don't know that there's a lot of teams that would say that we might not be a better fit for some of those at-large bids than some of them, but that's not how it works. It's a lot of formula, and it's a lot of wins, losses, strength of schedule, common opponents, those kind of things. So it's out of our hands at this point. We didn't do enough to do it on our own, so we need some help. But there certainly is a possibility, and we'll be watching the selection show. If we win the game on Saturday, we'll be watching the selection show on Sunday. And we know we have to win first. There's no doubt about that. We know we got to do that. But, hopefully we can get a win and then put it in the committee's hands and see what they say. So.
Final question for you. Last regular season game, what have you seen from your team from that first game to now your week number 10 of
Yeah,
the games.
I just think we understand how to play football a lot better at this point. I just think you look back at Luther and Illinois Wesleyan, it felt like they're babies out there playing, and we got guys that are playing in their first games, guys that are starting their first games. We're still playing a bunch of freshmen, but you look at Joey Stutzman, Josh Dorschner, Josiah Gerlitz, those guys are all freshmen, and they're playing in big-time roles for us right now. Max Brower's a sophomore, and look at his development from where he has been. And Noah Schober now starting and fitting into those roles. A lot of those guys hadn't played before, and so now you're seeing the depth of this team really come through, and guys have played, and we're figuring some of that stuff out. And at the same time, we still, last week we won because of seniors. The guys that made the plays, Jalen Clark getting the play at the end to get the first down to seal it, Colton Neiman at the interception. Those guys are veteran and senior guys that have played a lot of football for us now. And so you kind of look at that unique mix that we have on the team, and it's just a really cool thing to see that really the future is now. They're all playing right now, and we're winning a lot of football games with a lot of young guys who are going to be here for 2 or 3 more years yet. Is pretty neat.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck tomorrow.